Far-Flung Tin Can, we are bridging the gap between two diverse worlds, the Christian home and the mission field, through missions awareness, missions engagement, and worship in everything. We're traveling the world to the most remote places on the planet to find those who have laid down everything to say yes to God. And whoever said missions can't be fun? God is calling. Will you take the call? Every 4 years, Far-Flung gets together as a family, gathering all of our missionaries, all of our volunteers, all of our staff from around the world to go to one place to work together on a massive project. And this time we're in the Amazon jungle. To get to the Amazon jungle is already difficult enough, people flying in from 13 nations around the world. But then we decided to go 500 miles into the jungle. So we've chartered a boat and we're going to be sleeping in hammocks and traveling day and night to get to the villages that we want to reach. It's going to be a crazy project full of medical, children's ministry, evangelism, feeding, and even recording an album. Far-Flung goes to some far-flung locations and does some crazy things, but this one was definitely extreme.
It's time to do interviews, and we are on top of a 3-deck boat with bright shining lights, and bats are everywhere. Now, the thing about that is, I don't like bats. I just don't like them. I don't mind snakes. I don't mind spiders so much. I really don't mind much of anything, but bats bother me for multiple reasons. I'll go ahead and explain since I have a minute. Number one, they fly, they're fuzzy, and they have fangs. Their wings are actually long fingers. I don't care who you are, that's terrible. I have a thing about animals and insects that fly, but their flight pattern is unpredictable. For instance, I'm not afraid of butterflies. But when one is flying towards me, I get a little nervous because you never know what's gonna happen. Like you see a falcon's going that way, it goes that way, and then all of a sudden here comes the butterfly who's like, you never know they're coming right at you. And bats are in that same category. They carry diseases, and they come out just at night. Who does that? This is my 6th trip with Far-Flung. This, by far, was the most difficult. We've been on a boat for over a week, sleeping outside. You can't move. Like when everybody goes to sleep, forget it. You're not going anywhere. Wherever you're at, when everyone goes to sleep, that's where you are till everyone wakes up.
So we're en route to Parent Teens. We're supposed to be there at 7 o'clock this evening. It's currently 9:15 with 3.5 hours to go to Parent Teens. So instead of eating dinner at a restaurant, we've got fried pinopiles and some bread and some ground beef, and we're gonna have a good time. Far-Flung.
We're on the boat for what felt like a really, really long time. Like, I had to move my hammock once because I realized I had placed my hammock between Joe and Mindy, which is, it's not really, I'm not trying to sleep for 10 days between the married couple in hammocks.
And so last night he invaded my space so badly that he literally kicked me out of my own hammock. So at 5 o'clock, he just continued to push until finally my head was over. I struggled for a good 30 minutes to try and get back on and finally gave up at 5 and got up. So thank you very much, Sam.
Did you lay on the floor and go to sleep?
No, I just sat here. Uh-oh, we have some rain on the horizon here.
about to have a rainstorm. Trying to get everything down so we don't get wet. Pastor David and Tina are sleeping in tents on the top of the boat on the roof, so we're hoping they get everything down before the rain gets.
To live is Christ, to die is gain.
It's about to rain, so trying to get all the suitcases and all the equipment and.
We're in the middle of a thunderstorm, and it's really nice, but also everything's getting really wet, so they're setting up these tarps, and Mindy and I are standing here just watching because it feels really good, but we don't want to get wet.
The
So.
tarps go flying. These giant cooler lids are just going through the air, and I'm just like, there's cups and napkins, and I'm like, just swatting everything away.
The seas were angry that day.
Traveling for 3 days on a boat, you have a lot of downtime, and at some point you start to get a little stir crazy.
Putting together bags for the kids. What do we have then? Boats, balls, candy, snacks. Hopefully, they'll be blessed.
A few years ago, Celia shared a dream and a message with our group. It shifted us personally in a deep way. It shifted me. And I won't share all of it except to say, before you get off the boat, just spend more time with Celia. She said there are people who are not known on the earth. Most of the population don't know who they are. She made like a tribal cry that we want to be known in the heavens. In a service, she also said, I want to be known in the heavens and I want to be known in hell. I want them to know me as they knew Paul, as they knew Jesus. I think it had marked us. We're not here to make a name for ourselves, but to make his name known. One of the last trips that we took, we saw a great amount of opposition. Not among leaders, but among the spirits in the region. I think that we can anticipate opposition, but it won't necessarily be the people. But there will be a spiritual opposition. But we don't have to worry, because God's great in us. Yesterday, when they prayed for our hands, there's some people in here, and I'm not saying it wasn't powerful, but you needed more. Not just your hands, but your heart. If your heart's not right, your hand's ready to minister, but your heart can't move on. God will make his name known in this region. What's scary is that you could let your heart remain in bondage while your hands express healing. That's not God's will for you, to lay hands on others and your hands are anointed, but your heart is broken. I received a message from an intercessor that said to expect miraculous like we've never seen. That some will mistake you for the shamans, thinking your power comes from the earth. But you have to tell them that your power comes from heaven. I don't think that that word was for me personally. I think that word was a you that are in the Amazon on God's mission. So I want to commission somebody here. I don't want us to win out here and you lose in here. So I put you on notice. Now is the time. You don't get another 15 minutes to put it off. Now is your moment. You're not gonna get in God's way. We will see darkness broken. We will see people healed. We will see the gospel go forward. I'm not saying hurry up and get free because you'll be in our way. I'm saying now's your chance. This moment is your opportunity to say, don't just pray for my hands, but my heart and my feet, and my head, all of me. Our first experience with the chief of that village, I probably didn't understand until later, because he is the one who signed off on us coming to the Amazon. He made that happen for us. Funny thing happens when we get there though. The chief comes out. I didn't know he was the chief until he leaves. And they said the chief had to go and get ready. So I was thinking they probably don't get a lot of visitors. So when you stop with 60 people into this village, yeah, I need to go get ready. And when he comes back, he's still shirtless, except now he has this really large like headdress on. And I was like, yes.
This is Chief Amaro. Bom dia. Bom dia. Bem-vindo agora na nossa comunidade. Que porque tanto a gente esperava, né? Deus é único, advogado mais forte que tem, que é onde te dá todo pra gente, pensamento bom, trabalho bom, a saúde para todos nós. Amém. Amen.
We are in Punta Elagi. This is our first stop off the boat, and we're just so excited to be here with everybody. They've been so open and welcoming to us already, and we're just hoping that through what we're doing with the kids ministries right now and the medical setup, that they'll just see that there's something different, and they would come to the services tonight. We're just believing that God's going to do miracles and just supernatural things today here.
Math and physics say that all of us are not fitting on that boat. Math and physics. Just not gonna happen.
We left the village where specific teams kind of dispersed out, and we went with Brian's team to do the outreach. And we went down the river to find places that were more secluded, not necessarily villages, but in seclusion. And the first one we went to, we kind of had like a little bit of a strategy to just send about like 4 people to meet whoever we needed to meet. We got to talk to this sweet lady. I think she was making yuca. She started sending out some of the little kids to go get their families. So Brian had asked me to sing, and then they had one of their ladies sing. So it was really cool. And then from there, we started talking about needs, asking for any needs that needed to be met through prayer. And we found out that there was actually a lot of sickness, whether that be internally. One of the ladies' feet had been hurting really bad, and you could just tell there's some discoloration on her feet. So we got to pray with them, and it was really awesome. Right before we had to leave, we told them that if they needed any other medical attention, anybody else in that area, if they needed that they could come to the village that we were stationed at.
So in one village, cancer of the mouth was a big deal. We saw maybe 5 or 6 people, and some people were in the bad stages where there was blood and oozing and stuff like that. And then some people were in beginning stages where they thought they had chapped lips. And all we could do at some point was give them chapstick, because there was nothing that we could do at that point to treat them, but we could pray. And there's always hope as long as we could pray. And a case in point was when they told us in one village that in the house there was a man that was dying. And he was dying, so he couldn't get up and come to the medical clinic that we set up. So we got to go visit. He sat there and his eyes were closing, and I think he thought he was just slipping into eternity as we sat there. And you know, even as our hearts broke for him, I think there was an urgency that if he dies, does he even know that he's about to meet the Creator? And even as I led him, through the prayer, I was thinking, does he even understand? Just when he said, when I told him, I say, Jesus, I believe that you died, he just started weeping. And that's how I knew that, he knew what he was saying.
So this is our second stop. We are going from house to house along the river. And on this stop, there are more than one house, and we're gonna try to reach out to them and speak to them and share the gospel and invite them to come to the service tonight. The first day of our outreach, it was just only a few of us. Gary was leading the team, and we get to this village. So at one point, Gary was talking about that God has a plan for our lives, but we need to get ready to present ourselves before Him. So the chief said, it is true. He stepped into what Gary was saying and started talking, and we stopped to hear what he was saying. We need to be prepared to present ourselves before God. He said, I was hunting, and then I saw a sloth on a tree branch. And I went up the tree, and then the branch broke, and he fell 12 meters, 40 feet.
40 feet, yeah.
And he fell flat on his back. In his way of saying, he said, then it felt like I had a dream. And then I got to this place that had this big bell, like golden bell. And when I got there, it was, the bell was rung. And somebody showed up, a man with a white beard, a beautiful, beautiful man. And he stood up to receive me. And then someone else, another man with a black suit, beautiful beard, beautiful man, he said, not yet. And he said, I woke up. And as I woke up, I thought I died. But then I saw that I was on the floor. And he said, when you said that I will get to the door of heaven and I will not be let in, I know, because I was sent back. And then I went through that. I said, do you know the interpretation of your dream? And he said, what I think is I was not ready to enter heaven. I said, that's right. And God gave you another opportunity to be prepared, to get ready so that you can enter heaven. And so that's when I started, I got through that door, and then he gave his life to Jesus. Having this happen in that outreach really blessed my heart, because it showed me that how God is prepared to minister to every tribe, every nation, every tongue, and how He is preparing people's hearts to hear the gospel. That man had that experience just before we came, and when we came, we were able to explain to him. It just blessed my heart, and to see that God is not, that He's not bound by barriers. He is just free, and he is working, and he goes ahead even preparing people's hearts.
So the woman that we washed her feet and prayed over today, she really needs medicine. She couldn't come because she can barely walk. So someone from the village came to get medicine for her, but we can't diagnose her. So we are reviewing the footage so that they can kind of tell if this is, you get into the technical, I'm not gonna.
We just need to know if it's bacterial or fungal. So we've got podiatry expert here. We're working on it.
A little bit in there, and let her soak her feet. Then they.
I don't know where I'm looking. Actually, I can't see that well.
Janelle, what is this?
This is a mosquito net outfit. I did not get a yellow fever shot, so this is all I had.
But you know they can get in right
Yeah,
here.
well, I haven't zipped it. I look like a sword fighter beekeeper. It actually came with mittens, but I forgot them.
So this is her prevention.
Wow. What do you think? What?
All right, we just loaded 54 people off of this boat, and we are now crossing the river Styx to where our service is. This river, Pastor David almost drowned in today. He thought that he could swim across it, and he couldn't. But we were luckily right there, and we were able to get the boat to him. But yeah, this is pretty sketchy. We didn't know going into this village that no one has even been to before anyways, that we couldn't park curbside and that we would have to ferry across.
I mean, other than the fact that I literally can't see anything right now. So I have no bearings.
We have no clue if we're about to go into a waterfall.
Right.
Yeah, so we're, I really don't know how far away the shore is, but there's Isaac behind us.
Oh, we're almost there.
There's a guy that's at the service tonight. He stepped off his boat tonight and cut his foot open on like a broken glass bottle in the water. So he's just bleeding all over. So they went and got the med kit. And they're trying to clean it and dress it. And I'm trying not to get nauseous.
So tonight is the second night of our outreach here.
We had an awesome service tonight. Pastor Shero preached, and there was 3 translations going on. Bill and Jeremy were acting everything out that Shero was preaching, and Jeremy was getting on the floor, getting dirty and everything, but he was champing through. And then Pastor Shero just invited if anyone needed healing, anyone needed something that they needed prayer for, to come forward, and it just ended up being an amazing, amazing time of prayer.
We've had healings, we've had salvation, deliverances, and it's just all glory to God right here underneath the stars. It's just an amazing time tonight.
The presence of the Lord was thick in this place. There was countless healings. I still can't even pick up all the healings that have happened. There's been several people that you looked at when they come to the altar, and then when the Lord did something, then you saw their face, and it was just complete joy. I'm overwhelmed that the Lord moves wherever, whenever He wants, and tonight we witness His glory.
I think the preaching of the word, especially when we used illustrations and they got up to look, because they may not have understood the words, but they understood the actions and the story of Christ, and the altar services were the best.
So what we have experienced here was, or is, because we're still in it, it's what I call the holy mess. The Holy Spirit just fell on people. Some people have been healed right here. Some people have been delivered, and some people have received amazing. It felt like everyone received what they needed to receive. Pastor Cheryl shared a powerful message and felt led by the Spirit to just call people for prayer, and that's what we did. And it's just been amazing. And we will leave here tonight knowing that the glory of the Lord fell on this place, and that His banner, we are leaving, but His banner was established in this place.
The thing that took my heart away was that we fed them after the service, and I noticed that when we said go home and get your plates and come back, that most of them brought an old beat up pot or a basin or a little bowl and just stood there in line. And I think, you know, back at home we take that so for granted. But they get so excited because you hear them saying, ooh, dinner, 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 you know, they're making us dinner. It was such a big deal to them. And those were the pictures that I wanted to keep.
Far-Flung Tin Can is spreading the gospel and helping others in the most remote places on earth. Our work in the Amazon is ongoing and you can be a part. Farflungtincan.com is a place to get plugged into missions. You can apply to join us on our monthly Far-Flung trips, or you can help send us to far-flung places by giving. A lot happened on this trip, including a live worship recording on the boat and in the jungle. You can purchase this album digitally or stream it on all platforms.